we'll see how long this clip lasts and if you can even hear me, just because my windows are open. Because it is very here. Let me change that. It's very warm today. Anyway, I'm on my way down. I'm on my way down to San Francisco, or Bay Area, for my friend's bachelorette party. We'll see just how much I can actually film this weekend, or how much I'm willing to film. So we'll see. Just because at least I think I'll be able to get some good B-roll. Yeah. So right now I am heading out of my hometown. Just heading out, just starting off. I have my Starbucks, which I don't typically get on when I expect a long drive. This is supposed to take about 5.5 hours. That's assuming that traffic is good. I'm suspecting more about 6. I am running a little behind by a half hour, but that's my own fault because I packed it this morning and still had laundry to do. So that's typically me. It drives my partner crazy. I don't do it with trips with him because he's very prompt and he wants to leave early and on time. So I am usually a bit more forgiving in terms of time. I also just am terrible at time management. So yeah. But yeah, figured I'd hop on and just let you know what's going on. I'm hoping this is gonna be weird for me. Not only because am I gonna try to vlog in front of friends, but I'm also bringing my camera along. This is the first time, oh God. This is the first time I am bringing this camera on a vlog with me out of the area. Last year, I think even in summer of 2020, yeah, last year, I did a very similar vlog where when I went and visited these friends, I stopped at a Barnes & Noble. I kind of took me on a book shopping thing. That was all done on my phone, which is to me almost easier to film on occasion. But we'll see. We'll see how I can do with this. So it's very odd, particularly being able to talk with you like this. I don't think if it's legal. But I mean, hands-free, so. But yeah. So because it's approximately a 5.5 hour drive, of course I have an audiobook that I'm listening to, and that is Trailed, One Woman's Obsession? What is it called? One Woman's Quest to Solve the Shenandoah Murders by Catherine Miles. This was a Libro FM advanced listeners copy that I picked, which I wasn't sure if I would actually be interested in because it's very hit or miss for me depending on mood when it comes to true crime. And I started listening to this morning while I was packing, and just kind of like have been not obsessed, but I've been like pretty into it. I think it was originally 6 hours and 7 minutes, and I knew I would have to listen to some of it if I was able to drive on time, essentially, with the estimate of 5 hours and 30 minutes. So I'm down to 4 hours and 30 minutes left. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really kind of creepy. I already have scared myself for this trip, in all honesty, because already they're talking about murders that happen or disappearances that have happened with young women when it comes to driving alone, particularly on the East Coast, where the Shenandoah is, and the Appalachians and all that. But it's happening here too. This happens. In fact, we had an emergency call out from the Yurok tribe stating that our Native women shouldn't be traveling alone, shouldn't be going into town alone, because we're in a state of emergency with murdered and missing Indigenous women, Two-Spirit girls, and people in general. So I'm a little freaked out. Been hearing some horror stories, and this book is not helping. So, as if I wasn't already freaked out to leave my house. Yeah. And then, of course, for some reason, I have a great book for the ride back, too. That's If I Disappear. I'm not sure who it's by. I can edit that in later. But that is also, it's a fiction novel, but it's also based around true crime, or not based, it kind of has this true crime theme, particularly following a true crime podcaster who ends up disappearing, and I think it's actually based around this area. They say Eureka, a small port city, which I'm like, wait, is that here right now? And which I wasn't sure about until when I listened to the sample, it started talking about the winding roads and having to take Dramamine, and then like being so cautious on these roads that you're going so slow that trucks start piling up behind you. I'm just like, oh, this is sounding real familiar. To anyone that's like not familiar with our roads, it can be one of the dangerous in California, if not the nation, I believe. There are consistent times throughout our seasons where you can be trapped here in this local area because our main highways are completely blocked, either by slides or flood, or have just kind of not caved out, but like disintegrated due to the ocean. So, or because of fires. So yeah, that was familiar. As well as the narration ends up talking about the Klamath River, which is one of our rivers. So that one should be interesting. And another one that's probably going to scare the hell out of me, because this podcaster ends up disappearing, and another woman's trying to figure out where they went and solve it. So yeah, already kind of stressed. I swear coming to this city always reminds me just how country bumpkin I am. So in the Bay Area, in 1, 2, 3, 4, is there 5 lanes? 4 lanes of traffic. I swear the most we have in Humboldt is like 2, maybe 3, but even then it's not that bad. So when like frickin' huge trailers are like trying to pass me up because I'm not going fast, when I feel like I'm like speeding, is ridiculous. So yeah, I did finish Trailed. I already forgot who it was by. Sorry, I'm kind of in a daze now. It's that like, I don't know, driving days where I'm kind of just doing on autopilot. Really enjoyed it ultimately. I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm debating if I want a physical copy, as it does like tends to remind me, there was a lot of like similarities to I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, in that it's had some very interesting information when it came to like the lack of, I don't know if it's details or the lack of coordination between agencies. The problem with National Park Services was like huge to me. Like, I knew they were strapped for cash, I guess, but like, which, I mean, National Park Services already has kind of a it's already troublesome enough, but like when it comes to crimes, that's pretty, and murders and missing people, that's fairly concerning, especially with like how many national parks, I mean, California has, let alone in the northern region where I'm located. So ultimately it was very impactful, and hopefully more people are able to read this and ultimately push for the FBI and expose the FBI to like actually do some like test the DNA that like the author of this book is so like lays out for us. It was very, very interesting. Like, I loved Michelle McNamara's book, and I really enjoyed Trailed, and I've always kind of wanted Michelle McNamara's book because it's so high profile, but this one itself just had a lot of information as well, just in general. So I'm debating if I want a physical copy to refer back to later, because it does have really interesting, I mean, of course, the stories itself is tragic, and I have like a weird back and forth with true crime in that way of just like exposing intimate lives without permission, though I really enjoyed the author of Trailed, and that they sought permission from one of the victims in particular, how they didn't want it politicized, but they want answers ultimately. So yeah, very, very cool. Traffic is getting congested, and I'm feeling less comfortable with a distractor. I'm very much one of those drivers that once I get into an area that I'm uncomfortable with, that I'm not used to, I need to like turn the music down so I can see better, essentially. So basically I can't have any other things going on. this is even in focus because I can't quite see. I'm heading back up north. Hopefully my battery life is alright. Okay, so heading back up north. Just got out of Oakland area, and I'm thinking I'm going to stop at a bookstore, a Barnes & Noble bookstore that I like going to. I believe it is in the Sonoma area, and don't mind the look today. It is Sunday, late night last night. So, but yeah, I'm planning on stopping at a bookstore, Barnes & Noble, just in the Sonoma area. I think it's just a little north of Runner Park. Just because, one, I want Starbucks or some kind of coffee. Though, had Pete's coffee for the first time this weekend. Not bad. Did not need a full caffeinated drink, but it was still not bad. It was actually really good. So, good to know. But I need some kind of caffeine to get through the rest of the trek of this trip, because I still have like 4 hours. So yeah, so maybe a small book shopping with me book haul, maybe. So maybe even like a board game. That's one thing I do enjoy about Barnes & Noble, is that they have board games, and I tend to really like the selection that they have. So, but yeah, just got on the 101. Yesterday it was fantastic. I didn't get to, I filmed some clips from the zoo that you should have seen. So we went to San Francisco Zoo yesterday, and it was so cute. So my friend, this was her bachelorette party, and I mean, I knew it wasn't so the rest of her bridesmaids and I, and it's like 2 bridesmaids, myself and another, and then 2 brides dudes. One of them is the other bridesmaid's partner. And we've been planning this since the beginning of April, though I was kind of wishing we had more time, so just because I felt like I couldn't contribute as much as I would have liked, but it was so good. So we ended up renting a car that fit everyone, mostly because one of the bride's dudes is like 6'8", so he needs room. Went to San Francisco Zoo, ended up and she was excited for that just in general. She was also just excited that we were all together for her. But went to San Francisco Zoo, which she was totally stoked about. We then we wandered around for about an hour, and we knew we had to go meet someone at the cafe at noon. So that's what we went and did. She still had no idea what we were gonna go do, and they took us over to the giraffe exhibit. And she thought, she kind of put 2 and 2 together, but not quite fully. So we went over there, and they were cutting up veggies and fruits to feed the giraffes. And she kind of guessed, going, "Oh, are we gonna get to see them feed the giraffes?" And we didn't answer her. That was our thing of just we're not gonna tell her much of anything, which I absolutely just loved. As soon as the trainer was done cutting up the fruits and veggies, she turns to my friend whose bachelorette party it was for, and goes, "Okay, so are you the birthday girl?" And we're like, "No, actually she's the bride." And she's like, "Oh, okay, so cool, this is actually really cool for you." So she's like, "So have you ever fed giraffes before?" And it kind of goes, "No." And it's it's kind of dawning on her, but it's not quite sinking in. And we ended up catching it on camera, not my camera, someone else's. But it was just so cute, because you could tell it was still unbelievable to her, and we had to kind of explain to the trainer, because she had this reaction, she was about to cry. And the trainer kind of freaked out going, "Are you okay?" And we're like, "No, it's okay. Like, this is really exciting for her. She had no idea that we were doing this." And the trainer got really excited going, "Oh, okay, well, so let's fill you in." And she's like, "You were feeding giraffes today." And that it finally sunk in, and she was just so excited. Which I think got the trainers excited too, because my friend is an absolute animal lover. Like, we had tried asking her at one point what her favorite animal was, giraffes, dogs, or like all other animals, and she's like, yes. Like, she cannot rate animals. She absolutely loves them. She goes out running daily with her dog and is constantly finding lost animals and taking them to shelters, or like trying to nurse them back to health and then taking them back to shelters. So she's just an absolute animal lover, and giraffes in particular are one of her favorites. So this was just so exciting for her, and of course, because of her enthusiasm for being able to do this, got the trainers really excited as well. So apologies if anything has changed at all. So yeah, we ended up going into this particular section, and there was like buckets and buckets of cut up vegetables and fruit, and they really focused on my friend, the bride. I'm just going to call her the bride, and which we were all really happy with, of teaching her how to feed the giraffes, and like how they were able to train the giraffes to kiss and hug, and yeah, saw the snow leopards, all the animals came back. Went clubbing last night. The clubbing's not particularly my scene. I was actually mostly because like one big event for the day, and which I would consider going to the zoo, is good for me. And then I'm wiped out. Usually, like, I'm done. Like, I am good, like, staying at home, eating in, and just kind of chilling for the rest of the day to just kind of recoup, because we were all together, because this doesn't happen very often that we are all together. I mean, we wanted to make the best of it. So we went clubbing and called it a night relatively early. It was like a half hour before the club closed, which is still like 1:30. Got back to the house and like just kind of like chilled for a while, and yeah, passed out at 3. So I'm tired today. That was a lot to do yesterday. Not that I like don't like doing that, it's just a lot, and now I feel like I need to recoup. I'm glad that I took not only today off of work but tomorrow as well, to just kind of recover. So yeah, that's the update there. Didn't read anything else. Don't know why I thought I would. I, for some reason, keep thinking that I'll be more productive than I think I'm going to be when I visit the bride, and I'm not. So it's like I ended up bringing like several different books and just wasn't able to get to any of them. I have yet to start I Disappear. I forget who it's by, which was my pick for my drive back up north. I haven't started that yet, mostly because I started off in the Bay Area. I wanted to get through getting out of the Bay Area without the interruptions from my navigation system while reading. So whew, sorry, it is warm in here. So I just went to Barnes & Noble in Santa Rosa. That's where I went. I may have a clip, but ultimately for some reason my phone stopped working in terms of my camera. It kept popping up saying something was wrong, and would just have me cycle through restarting the app only for it to pop up again and say something went wrong. So sorry, you didn't really get to go in with me, but I will do a little book haul with you. A couple of things I got weren't books. And it's been a while since I've been to this particular Barnes & Noble. They no longer have a Starbucks. So I'm gonna go find a gas station. If there happens to be a Starbucks nearby, I'll go. But ultimately need a gas station because I do need to get more gas as well as use the bathroom. Because that was one thing with this Barnes & Noble as well, is that their public restrooms were currently closed. So, but what I ended up getting, I found this seed the Seed and Sickle tarot card deck, which I thought looked really cool. The art on it looks really interesting, and it's a botanical oracle deck that centers on the cycle of sowing and harvest, which I enjoy gardening, so this will be really interesting, and the art on it looks really interesting. So yeah, just thought that would be a fun little thing. I did take a quick look at their game section, but I do need to start getting on the road, so it was very quickly went through, but I ended up getting Campy Creatures. It looks to be a 2 to 5 player game. This is the second edition, and it's for ages 14 and up, and basically you are mad scientists and you need mortals to create an army of campy creatures. And so basically the more points you get, the better. So this seems like a quick fun one. I'm finding that with my family in particular, if I want to play board games with them, they can't be complicated, and they have to be easily explained. So this one seemed like a fun one to do, so with the family, and it was like the first one that kind of popped out at me. Otherwise, in terms of books, I got Slenderman. I don't know who this is by. I don't know who this is by. That's weird. One man search for the truth about one of the most intriguing urban legends ever. The modern boogeyman Slenderman leads him down a dark, dangerous path in this creepy, supernatural fantasy that will make you question where the line between dark myth and terrifying reality begins. So this sounds apparently chilling, eerie, and addictively readable. Slenderman is a unique, spine-tingling story and a brilliant and frightening look at one of the most fascinating and diabolical mythical figures in modern times. I've been interested in this before. I actually had a dream of sorts about Slenderman that kind of freaked me out. It wasn't so much a nightmare though, it was real weird. Like, honestly, it was a sexual dream. So it was real weird, and so I've been kind of fascinated by it. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna get into that. Moving on, I got 3 mangas. 2 are from the same series. One is it's just the first because I didn't see the second, but that is Spy Family by Tatsuya Endo. His story and art is by the same person, and basically Master Spy Twilight is unparalleled when it comes to going undercover on dangerous missions for the betterment of the world, but when he receives the ultimate assignment to get married and have a kid, he may finally be in over his head. Not one to depend on others, Twilight has his work cut out for him, procuring both a wife and a child for his mission to infiltrate an elite private school. What he doesn't know is that the wife he's chosen is an assassin and the child he's adopted is a telepath. So I've heard good things about this on BookTube. Been very curious about it. I believe Starla at one point had talked about it. So yeah, finally found. That's one thing, anytime I go to Barnes & Noble, I don't tend to find the first book of anything. That tends to be the first ones that go, but did find the first one of this, so I'm excited to get into it eventually. And then this one, I got 2 from the same series, and it's the first and second volume of Black Butler by Yana Toboso. Just a stone's throw from London lies a manor house of the illustrious Phantom Hive. Earldom and its master, one seal Phantom Hive. Earl Phantom Hive is a giant in the world of commerce. Queen Victoria's faithful servant, and a slip of a 12-year-old boy. Fortunately, his loyal butler, Sebastian, is ever at his side, ready to carry out his young master's wishes. And whether Sebastian is called to save a dinner party gone awry or probe the dark secrets of London's underbelly, there apparently is nothing Sebastian cannot do. In fact, one might say Sebastian is too good to be true, or at least too good to be human. I've seen the anime and really enjoyed it, and I wanted to read the manga, so I got 2 volumes of that because that's another one that I hardly ever see the first 2 in Barnes & Noble. Yes, I could very well just order them online, but for some reason with manga, I always want to see them in person. So yeah, that is my book haul from Barnes & Noble. I need to go find some coffee as well, or mostly gas in a bathroom, and then start heading home. Okay, so that was dumb. As you can see, I finally got my coffee. I also got one of the paninis. But basically, went to Barnes & Noble, tried to find out where the nearest gas station was. Turns out it was like 2 blocks up the street from Barnes & Noble. I didn't even see it. And then tried to find coffee because that Barnes & Noble didn't have a Starbucks anymore. Turns out it's because Starbucks had opened up a store right next to Barnes & Noble, which I didn't realize until after I had left to go get gas. So I did that totally wrong, and of course my spot was taken, I don't know. It was just a roundabout way. Still cannot find a bathroom, so I'm gonna have to pull over at a Vista Point at some point, which scares the hell out of me, but we'll see. I gotta get going now because now I'm not gonna be home until like 8:30 tonight, so yeah, I am going to start listening to, as soon as I get out of Santa Rosa, If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier, narrated by Kristen Kristen Sai. So I'm not gonna be able to finish it on this drive, but I can at least start it. So I may end up extending this vlog into tomorrow, since I have Monday off, tomorrow off as well. So we'll see. So
a new place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by. Life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. My way. Cause I found my way. My way. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. My apologies if it's not in focus still, so I'm fairly up north now. I still have like another hour or so of driving, hour and a half, but wanted to update you. I'm like 25% into If I Disappear, I think it's what it's called,
not sure how to feel about it just yet. So there's some things that I kind of want to look into in terms of, like, I'm sure the road's right, but like there's just some things about Happy Camp that's stated that I'm just like, I don't know for sure, and just kind of wanted to look up. And I'm realizing this is why I don't tend to read anything that read any books that are fairly, like, that are supposed to be located around or near of someplace where I'm somewhat familiar. So like for instance, The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, I had issues with just because I couldn't exactly locate it, because I mean the place that, or they created for The Wicked Deep, was made up. But like it bugs me that it didn't match the coastline of Oregon. So if you didn't know, The Wicked Deep, the location was supposed to be in Oregon, but it was like a made-up town between two major port cities, and I didn't like it, because I'm like, that's not how the coastline goes. You made up your own island. For some reason it bugged the hell out of me. And with this one in particular, it's the same way of just like, I'm trying so hard to figure out, is that true? Like, is that how that drive goes? Is that the topography? Is that like everything? I'm trying to figure out everything, and even down to local history. So there's a couple things I need to look up. No, I don't go to Happy Camp very often, but it's still near enough to me that I'm just like, but the whole 3 hours from Eureka to Happy Camp sounds about right. But like, it bugs me, and I get it, because Eureka is like the major city of the area, and I think it's gracious to call it a city. Just because, like, I mean, I guess technically, yes, it's a city, but it's like, after like knowing what like San Francisco, Los Angeles, like even like other cities look like Eureka doesn't feel like a city to me. But like there's no in between, so it's like the narrator talks about Eureka, Happy Camp, and Ashland, and a little bit Wairika, but like not really. But it's like there's so many things between Eureka and Happy Camp. Like for instance, they were just like, oh, like if you wanted a hotel, your best bet is to go back to Eureka. And it's like, no, I mean, yeah, there's hotels in Eureka, but like there's also hotels in Arcata, which is also like along 101 when you're heading north up to Happy Camp, or even in Blue Lake, which is on 299 to get to Happy Camp, or like Willow Creek, which is another like small-ish town that also has hotels. So it's just kind of that thing of just like, that's not accurate. Like, and I can tell that it's not by someone who doesn't know the local area. Which, I mean, I guess because like the narrator isn't from the local area either, supposedly. But that's the other thing that's bugging me, is that I can't tell if I like the main character yet, mostly because I don't understand how she's getting into the situation she's getting into. For instance, so if I disappear is basically we are following this woman, Sarah, who is kind of obsessed with this true crime podcast, and the podcaster, because she feels like she really relates to her, to the point where she even thinks that like she looks like her, but it's like, excuse me, a little, and then like the true crime podcaster ends up disappearing, and for some reason Sarah believes that she needs to go look for her, that like all, like everything she needs to know were in the podcast that Rachel, who's the podcaster, put up, that like Sarah should, like, even to the point where she knows how to find her, and which I think is really creepy, and like this is what Rachel would have wanted. I don't know, there's like this lack of like right and wrong that I'm already not comfortable with. This was something similar that I disliked about Home Before Dark, I believe it was, by Riley Sager. And all these questions that like are really very invasive to other people, especially when you know that like they don't like questions. So that's what's bothersome to me. I'm not liking the main character because of that, because it's just like she just kind of seems out of her element. I don't understand why she's doing this. Like I get that, like, yes, we should bring attention to missing people, particularly missing women, we should bring attention to missing people, particularly missing women. And I get that that's what she's trying to do, but at the same time, if she's taking it way too far in terms of like not so much paying attention as to hyper fixate on it, and it's this like to the point of this is stalking, because she ends up going to the podcaster's family residence in Happy Camp, which is a really rural town in Northern California, and just like pretends that she needs a job at her family's ranch, and ends up getting a job. And she's talking about all these things like, oh, Rachel, like, you know, in the podcast, like, told me how to do this, like, so like she ends up having to call from a landline on the ranch to let her ex-husband and her parents, because she doesn't have any other friends, know where she's at, in case something happens. But it's like, that's the thing, that's one thing that they definitely got accurate, is that in this part of Northern California, the only cell phone coverage is Verizon, and even that is really spotty. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I'm only 25% into it, but already I'm just like, I don't really know if I want to continue with it, because I feel like it's just gonna be really disappointing. So yeah, but just wanted to update you on that. And my battery's dying. I'm also like getting into a complex bit of the drive, so there's that. So I am back home. Let's ignore mess. The rest of the trip went fine in terms of driving back home. I stopped at a fast food place and got dinner before arriving home. My partner helped me get my stuff in, and basically just caught up, really, and enjoyed my own bed and a nice shower, or not in that order. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna end this here. Yeah, I haven't done any reading, honestly. If I disappear, just hasn't. I basically stopped listening to it when I was chatting with you yesterday, just because I'm not sure how to feel about it. I want to look at some reviews. I typically don't do that just because I feel like I don't want it to sway me, but I'm wanting to look at some reviews just because I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. Oh, I meant to look up too. Like I said, I haven't been, like, I don't think I've actually ever been there. I may have gone through it at one point, because there is yeah, it looks like I have been through it at one point or another. Yeah, there's so many things that I'm just like, for some reason it's bugging the hell out of me. So I'm gonna look up some reviews on it. Maybe I'm too close to it. So yeah. Yeah, otherwise I haven't got much reading done. This wasn't much of a very much a reading vlog, but just come with me and explore type thing, I guess. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This was really weird for me, so apologies, but hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, let me know. One thing that kept popping into my mind over the weekend was, how can I make my channel better? Like, what would you like to see? I'm open to critiques. I actually miss them from doing art in college. So if there's like, I mean, critiques, not just like you suck, like actual helpful things to let me know that could improve my channel, I would very much appreciate it. Yeah, just let me know. That would be great. So yeah, otherwise I hope that you're in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading, and I will see you in another video very soon. Chew.